So if you look at a typical Catholic day, it looks exactly like a public school day, except we've tacked on, in our case, 50 minutes a day of religion, a mass once a month. We have a few schools, like Opus Dei schools, that are a daily mass, and we have a couple schools that do weekly mass, but mostly mass once a month. So what we're doing is we're pretending to, or saying we're trying to get kids to put God at the center of their life, but God is not at the center of the curriculum. This is true across the entire country, so I'm not making fun of particular schools, right? So we're basically have said, if you look at our curriculum and our schedule, right, we're putting God as a footnote to every day. Much in the way you could live your life as a Catholic, like you go to church on Sunday, you're giving an hour to God, and the rest of the week you're going to, your life is going to be dedicated to all the secular gods, narcissism, materialism, etc. Right? And so I think we have to embed the Catholic intellectual tradition across all the subjects. And to be honest, you can't in an intellectually honest way teach art, music, architecture, history, philosophy, rights of women, science without reference to the Catholic Church. Even the church's position on divorce was at the time an incredibly progressive position to take, because women were basically treated like property. So if they got divorced by a man and they didn't have any property, they had no wealth, they basically were becoming like cast in the streets like the homeless of the day. So, and the church, it's amazing, that we take this position 2,000 years ago. And the church, no, everybody's created equally in the eyes of God, not just men or not just property class. And so, how do you teach about all that stuff and pretend that Western civilization didn't occur, that the Catholic Church didn't create Western civilization, that we didn't create the rule of law? So almost everything, that people, say that they admire was created by the Catholic Church, whether people realize it or not. We also have, in terms of kind of social justice, if you will, we have the biggest global footprint of anybody in terms of service to the poor, the dispossessed, and the marginalized, and the most consistent set of moral teachings. So I don't know why everybody isn't. And so this is my little, not just because they had me write the foreword, but here's a book, right? Educating for Eternity, Making Every Class Catholic, by Brett Salkeld. I think that's how you pronounce his name. That's me down here. But the idea of the book is how to figure out to make every class Catholic. And I think it's a really good idea. And it's something that is probably a lifetime's worth of work. But if people setting up new schools should start out this way, and people that their schools aren't that way should look at St. Jerome Academy in Hyattsville, Maryland, which they started out as kind of a run-of-the-mill Catholic school that almost went belly up. And then they embraced the Catholic liberal tradition. And I mean liberal with a kind of a classical sense, not in a political sense. And it's now a spectacular school that people are beating down the doors to get into. And that people literally are moving to be a reasonable distance from that school. So I think if you look at the Catholic schools that are doing the best, we have a St. Benedict's Classical Academy. They're going like gangbusters. They're about to build the most spectacularly beautiful, classically designed building here. But the schools that have leaned into it, contrary to what people think, are actually doing really well.